look forward to the constructive and thought-provoking debate, and I encourage all of us to keep an open mind as we engage in this meaningful discussion.
The status of women in India has been subject to many great changes over the past few millennia. Few works by ancient Indian grammarians such as Patanjali Katyayani suggest that women were educated in the early Vedic period.
Honorable Chair, has my able opponent said about the Vedic period, then what about the time during Aryan period where the position of women got declined, similarly in the modern era?
Respected Chair, after the Aryan period, during the Gandhian era of Indian freedom struggle, the position of women has been improving continuously, and even today in our modern India, we have assumed high offices in India such as the position of Speaker of Lok Sabha, President of India, Prime Minister of India and Leader of Opposition. As of 2011, the President of India, the Speaker of Lok Sabha are all are women.
Honorable Chair, as our opponent provided the stats, but in reality, no state in India has not more than 20% women representation in its assembly. According to 2024 data, women representation in Indian state legislature is low. The highest women representation is in the Chhattisgarh state legislation, that is just 18%. It is a shame to the government that the highest is the lowest itself.
Honorable Chair, I want to remind our able opponent that to improve the political representation of women in assembly, the government has came up with several programs and schemes such as Women Reservation Bill, that is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, which gives 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly. Honorable Chair, when we talk about Women Reservation Bill, it provides only 33% of the reservation. But why not 50%, and why its implementation got delayed to 2029? Honorable Chair, answering my able opponent, I want to state that if we provide 50% of the reservation to women, then there is no point in discussing about gender equality, as even in the other 50 of the seats, women can compete and constitute, as it also a difficult task for delimitation committee. Coming to the delay of implementing the bill, it is due to pandemic and delay in conducting the census.
Respected Chair, why our able opponents are always focusing on the negatives? Instead of only highlighting the negatives, let us acknowledge how far we have come and discuss how can we further build a society where women feel protected and valued. To ensure this, our government has provided some provisions like Section 498A, Section 376, Section 376 Clause 2, Section 354D and many other.
Respected Chair, our able opponent has mentioned some provisions for favoring women. But what about the situations where women have misused the laws? In recent times, we all heard the case of Atul Subhash. Whatever happened to Atul, the harassment he had to go through, it can happen to anyone. Because the law says innocent until proven guilty. But when it comes to men, the society says they are guilty until proven innocent. Atul is not alone. In our country, in the year 2022, more than 4,200 men have committed suicide due to marriage-related reasons. People have turned divorce into a business. Divorce has become a machine to earn money to black men, in which everyone earns money. Spouse, lawyers, activists, fake witnesses and corrupt police officers too, in which at last an innocent person remains only as an ATM. This is today's tragedy. And so, how will our opponent react to these kind of situations?
Honorable Chair, our government is trying its best to eradicate this kind of situations and working hard to bring a change in our country. एक व्यक्ति के कारण पूरी समाज को बदनाम करना गलत है.
Respected Chair, what happened to Atul is not a small thing. While committing suicide, he wrote a 24-page suicide note and 1.5-hour live video. This shows how he was mentally abused, harassed, tortured by his wife and the society. Not only Atul, this can happen to anyone and this needs to be addressed.
Yes, my dear able opponent, all these toxic situations, like in the case of Atul, can be avoided through prenup. Now, what is a prenup? Prenup is a prenuptial contract which defines the rights and responsibilities of both partners before the marriage. This helps to negotiate properly before the marriage and clear the finances. This helps to not only for the husband but also a protective measure for the wife. Here, This maintains transparency before the marriage. They get a chance to maintain balance of liabilities and authorities' responsibilities completely.
Oh, it's a very great idea put forward by able opponent. But there is no law in India that governs prenups. What would my able opponent say about this? My able opponent, this is because we follow the concept of Satyayug. This is the concept, this is a relationship of husband and wife, is a relationship of 7 births. We don't even consider the fact that we can get divorced. So why think about prenups? In court it happens, prenups often do not get any legal backing. That means even there is a prenup in India, it is not like being there. So prenups never happen. We hope we will make prenups legal very soon. Our able opponent has mentioned various provisions enumerated in the constitution. But what about the working women? Many women are facing sexual harassment at workplaces, and many women are forced to leave their jobs due to pregnancy. I am asking my able opponent to answer this. Honorable Chair, our government has provided several provisions to the women even at working places. As I want to mention the Article 42, which deals with the women conditions and maternity reliefs. And even when I talk about the Sustainable Development Goals 5, which deals with the gender equality. And even Section 66, Factories Act 1948. Our government enacted Post Act to give a security to the women even at the working places too.
Respected Chair, though our government has provided all these provisions, this exists a glass ceiling effect when provisions are provided by the government are not reaching the root level.
Respected Chair, the only solution to this problem is to provide proper awareness to the women and about the laws and schemes should be provided for them to improve the living conditions in the society. Respected Chair, as we look into the issue of women's safety in India, a woman becomes victim of cruelty of husband every 5 minutes, acid attack 2.5 days, dowry deaths 1 hour 7 minutes, gang rape and murder 1 day 15 hours, trafficking 2 days 4 hours, rape 16 minutes, attempt to rape 2 hours, assault with intent to outrage modesty every 6 minutes. This is the situation in the present society.
Honorable Chair, the Government of India is taking steps to ensure safety of women. As my able opponent had mentioned about dowry deaths, acid attacks, gang rapes and trafficking, let me make this clear. The government took an initiative for dowry deaths by providing imprisonment for a minimum of 6 months and fine up to 15,000, which had reduced them from existing 8,500 in 2014 to 6,450 deaths in 2022. We also have section 326A and section 326B of IPC, which addresses acid attacks. Acid attacks had frequently reduced from 228 in 2018 to 200 in 2022. As my able opponent used the term gang rape, I think they are not aware of section 376D of IPC, which reduced gang rapes from existing 32,000 in 2019 to 28,000 in 2020. The Government of India had also undertook POCSO Act against human trafficking. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, in the end, I want to remind all of you an old case. A few years ago, there was a case in Delhi, Jaslin Kaur versus Sarojit Singh, where a girl took a photo of a boy sitting on a bike and uploaded it on social media. Over the night, the name of Sarojit Singh portrayed as Delhi Ka Darinda, which means Delhi's monster. Before the court found him guilty, everyone portrayed him as guilty. The whole world declared him guilty. He lost his job and his mother got heart attack and his father went into depression. When the case went to court, Jaslin didn't appear to court for 10 days. And she went to abroad for study purpose. After 3 years, finally the court declared Sarojit as not guilty. But what about the trauma, what about the mental harassment faced by him during over these years? So here the women are misutilizing the law's provisions which are provided them to protect them, but they are misutilizing it. So how the opponent wants to respond to this situation where the innocent people are framed as the guilty? At last, I want to state something. Everyone keep telling that there are good men and there are bad men too. Likewise, there are good women and there are bad women too.
Respected Chair, to avoid these issues, police department are effectively working. And these serious crimes are handled by Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, so that there is more effective investigation.
Respected Chair,
As we mentioned earlier, my able opponents are always focusing on negatives and mentioning wrongful acts. But what about landmark judgments that brought several famous laws and acts that protects the human rights? Such as in the case of Shah Banu, the court emphasized for maintenance of rights of Muslim women, setting a precedent for murder and justice within personal laws. And in the case of Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, the court introduced Vishaka guidelines to combat workplace sexual harassment for women. Likewise, similarly, there are cases like Gaurav Jain versus Union of India, Joseph Shain versus Union of India, Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India. These all cases are taken judgments very clearly to protect women at workplace sexual harassments. Thank you.
Respected Chair, my able opponent was come up with various landmark judgments. But are they aware that all of these are delayed judgments? And delayed justice. Respected Chair, my able opponents was come up with various landmark judgments. But are they aware and all of these are delayed justice? Justice delayed is justice denied. But due to this delayed justice, innocent people who are not guilty are involved in the fake cases and are getting punished. What my opponent wants to say about these statements?
Respected Chair, so now my able opponent has come up with the term delayed justice. But does they know the judicial system in India in which an accused is given punishment after all the trials and after they are proven guilty? So it's not a delayed justice, it's an improving justice. And to be mentioned, we all are traveling in the same boat where we do active protest over the issues for justice, and the very next day people forgot everything.
Respected Chair, so my able opponent is saying that our judicial system is improving. According to NCRB Crime Report 2022, in India, 4.5 lakh crime cases against women are registered. 51 FIRs are being filed every hour. I think this is the development which our opponent has mentioned.
From the Muslim invasions to Modi's government, turning monarchical rule to democratic one, our country witnessed several changes. As we compare the position of the woman from the present to past, there were several developments which were taken in the lives of the women. Then I'll take an example of the sati system, which has been abolished, and many of the social reformers who fought for the abolishment of the sati system. One of them is Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and he was the one who fought for the abolishment of the sati system. And finally, woman has right to marry a person whom she liked. Even from following being beyond the pardas, the woman is becoming Miss Universe and Miss World and etc. And these are the several changes and the developments which were witnessed. I think our able opponents are too blind as they are not aware of all these changes and the developments which were evolving since 78 years of our independence. The focus should not only be on the crimes. The focus should also be on the collective responsibilities and the progress which we are making them to eliminate. So then what do you say about this?
Respected Chair, as a rebel opponent is mentioning the development of women in all aspects. But what of the child marriages which are prevalent in the rural areas? During pandemic, the state of AP witnessed n number of child marriages. 12 million girls are married before the age of 18 every year. Every 7 seconds, a girl under 15 is married somewhere in the world. And also, 2011 census of India estimates suggest that approximately 16,21,257 child marriages are taking place every year in the country, which roughly translates to 4,442 marriages every day. I think our able opponent are only concerned about the development in urban areas, but the cause of urbanization. How they would defend this situation?
Honorable Chair, the government has amended Child Marriage Act in the year 1978, which raises the marriage age of girls and boys to 18 and 21 years. And to be mentioned that there are some places where child marriages were fully eradicated. So don't blame the government by focusing on a particular area.
Honorable Chair, as my team members spoke about the child marriages which were prevalent from past to present. Similarly, there is another social level called Jogini and Devadasi system which were prevalent from past to till now. To be mentioned, these Devadasi and Jogini systems which were suppresses women voice and freedom, which are more popular in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. It's shocking that our able opponent did not even mention about these systems.
Respected Chair, as our opponent mentioned about the other system, our government has implemented various schemes and various states. I think our opponents are not aware about the schemes and acts of the government.
Honorable Chair, I want to mention about the high rate of illiteracy in India. Illiteracy in females is much higher than males as per 2011 census, and according to this census, the literacy rate of India is 74%, in which male literacy rate and female literacy rates are 82.14% and 65.5% respectively. Even school dropouts of girls had been increasing at higher educations. It's surprising that it has been 78 years since independence, still our country did not achieve even 75% of literacy rate for women. What do you say for this?
Honorable Chair, yes, the government is striving hard and implementing some schemes for improving literacy.
According to Article 16 and 43, women are getting decent employment and wages to improve their living standards. According to a periodic labor force survey, India's female labor force participation rate measured usual status was steadily risen, reaching approximately 42% in 23 to 24 from 33% in 21 to 22. Approaching the global average of 47%, achieving the ambitious target of 70% women participation in economic development by 2047, with 90% of India's working proposal to formalize gig workers by issuing identity cards and registering them on e-Shram portal is a significant step.
Respected Chair, my dear able opponent, it's surprising that my dear able opponent didn't even mention about the housewives, who are the main pillars of the society, and they are non-employed who work a lot but are still not paid a little. They are not paid a little, and they didn't even have protection against domestic violence and dowry deaths. My opponents may answer to this like that we have some prohibition acts against domestic violence and dowry deaths, but are they being implemented? And my opponent didn't even mention about women laborers who are underpaid as compared to men's, and how do you provide financial support to them?
Respected Chair, to provide employment opportunities to women, we have schemes like SHG, self-help groups, and MGNREGA schemes, and we also have microfinance which give employment opportunities to women.
Honorable Chair, our able opponent has mentioned about formalizing gig workers. But what about the safety and security of women gig workers who work late nights? To have a growth, one should have two main things. That is, to bring a change and to compromise. But these people don't even know about this. Then how these people will bring growth in women gig workers? Honorable Chair, even politically, women had achieved great heights. We can say this, as a tribal woman had become the President of India. And also, in some states, many governors and chief ministers' positions are occupied by women. They are becoming entrepreneurs too. The role of them had been increased due to the protection for them had been increased. The provisions provided by the government enable women to choose their own professions. Thank you.
So our government has provided several provisions for the political representation of women, but they are being misused by the other people. The government is only seeing the one side of the coin, but whereas on the other side, practices like the Panchayat Raj system exist in our country, where the position of the woman is, but in reality, the real parts are vested in the hands of their husband. So how do our able opponent respond to this?
Honorable Chair, I think my able opponent is still backward in their thoughts because practice of the system has been decreased, where women got awareness and got literated, and they are contesting independently, and they are being taken care in administration.
Honorable Chair, apart from this, I completely disagree with the point which is said by our opponent, that the role of women has been increased in entrepreneurship. But coming to reality, if there are 10 entrepreneurship, then there are 9 entrepreneurship in men and 1 entrepreneur in...
Honorable Chair, I am answering to my able opponent is that our government has providing various schemes for entrepreneurship of women to enhance their capability. They are Women Entrepreneur Platform, Bharatiya Mahila Business Bank Loan, Dina Shakti Scheme. Are they being implemented?
Yes, they are.
Then why women entrepreneurs were not there? There are entrepreneurs. Honorable Chair, our able opponent has put forward when political provisions provide to women. but many women are still not coming forward to take up high offices. Just because there were no safety measures for them? Take the example of Kamala Harris, who contested as the president in the USA. Though she had a high position, she has suffered from deepfake videos. Even in India, a great actress like Rashmika Mandanna and Alia Bhatt's videos were mocked and defamed. Famous personalities like them are facing these issues and are unable to do anything about it. Then just think about the position of common woman who is facing such issues. To bring trend to a country, there should be a president like Draupadi Murmu, a cricketer like Smriti Mandana, and an actress like Alia Bhatt. But what trend will you make by crimes like morphing videos on such great women?
Respected Chair, I think our able opponents are not aware of some sections enumerated in our Constitution. With the permission of Chair, I want to tell some of them provisions. Section 66, Clause E of IT Act 2007 punishes the capture, publication or transmission of private images without consent. Section 509 of IPC covers insulting a women's modesty. Our government has provided cybercrime portal number 1930 which is available for 24/7 hours. नारी शक्ति का सम्मान करना समाज की सच्ची प्रगति का पहला कदम है.